as a solution to our impending employment crisis. You'll have 1 minute. Senator Johnson, we'll start with you.
Well, in order to have immigration reform, we had to first secure the border. And we by and large had it secured under the previous administration. We'd stopped the flow of unaccompanied children and family units exploiting our asylum laws. We'd actually even cut in half adult immigration until President Biden took office, and then the border was opened up. We are dealing with about 7,000 people per day being encountered, processed, and dispersed throughout America. It's about 3 million people. It's also opened up our border to the flow of deadly drugs. Illegal immigration is not good or humane for the immigrants. They are being abused by the human traffickers, about an $18 billion a year business. How do you think, for example, young women pay off their human trafficking fee? The human trafficking, the sex trafficking, that is an untold story, and unfortunately the news media is covering up for the Biden administration.
Senator, I do have to exercise the moderator's option. The question was about immigration reform.
$1,000. This is about keeping people safe by making sure that those who are likely to offend and cause harm do not get to buy their way out of jail. That's the system that we have now. And this sort of reform that I support has been supported by Republicans all across the country as well.
All right. Senator, you have 1 minute. We have a huge problem with skyrocketing crime. One of the issues is we're not keeping criminals in jail. And Lieutenant Governor, when he was in the legislature, wrote the bill to eliminate cash bail. That is one of the methods we can use to make sure the dangerous criminals stay in jail. The Lieutenant Governor and Governor, their goal as they ended their office was to reduce the prison population by 50%. They've already reduced it by about 15%, and they paroled about 884 criminals. You'd think they started nonviolent. No. Only 11% were nonviolent, about 100 criminals. The other were violent criminals, including 44 child rapists, 270 criminals who primarily committed or at least attempted murder, and the murders were horrific. So if you want to reduce crime, first of all, you have to fully fund the police, and of course my opponent is opposed to fully funding police budgets, but we need to keep criminals in jail.
Senator, thank you.
Well, I'd like to...
I'm sorry, time is up, and we're going to give you time at the end. If there is something that you feel has been misrepresented, you'll have time at the end in a final question.
Sure, thank you.
Okay? Thank you. All right, let's go to Monse Ricosa of Telemundo, Wisconsin.
Thank you. There's agreement on both sides of the aisle that something about our country's immigration system needs to change, but how is the sticking point, especially as it can affect employment rate in Wisconsin? By the year 2030, it's estimated that the working population in our state will shrink by 130,000 people if we don't have an increase in migration. Would you look at making a path to citizenship more accessible as a solution to our impending employment crisis? You'll have 1 minute. Senator Johnson, we'll start with you.
Well, in order to have immigration reform, we had to first secure the border. And we by and large had it secured under the previous administration. We'd stopped the flow of unaccompanied children and family units exploiting our asylum laws. We'd actually even cut in half adult immigration until President Biden.
Reverend Eagle condemns, man. We in the skillet. We in the skillet. It's hot. It's a million. Gutter Ministries is a school. So Reverend Eagle condemns, man. I said today is October 12th, 2022. He 44 years old. And at this moment in his life, he's broke, but spiritually he's richer than he's ever been. It's a lexicon only the studied will ever study. So people want to know why Ron Johnson feel the way he feel, why Mandela Barnes feel the way they feel. So we come from two different life backdrops. As we know now, European cookies now ain't been the same cookies and snacks that. And when we study, we really try to emphasize the point. So what Reverend Eagle Cornelius man saying momentarily is European cookies, they classic sugar. They've been getting all the best ingredients. I mean, the ingredients been great. You go to your friend's house, and Reverend Eagle Cornelius man was privileged. You know what I mean? When his mother was in tribulation with the prison system, the jails, and things like that he was able to go into European foster homes. They took care of Reverend Eagle like he was their little baby boy. And Reverend Eagle never got molested by a European. the people, but European were molested by Reverend Eagle come to young man once he learned how to weigh grams and things like that. Oh my, once Reverend Eagle learned how to weigh grams of cocaine and all other type of drug substances, now Reverend Eagle condemned man became demonically possessed. So we got the little demon on the wall. He in his own. The demon, you say he in his own. And what Reverend Eagle condemned man saying, he was raised around Europeans now his whole life. And some people don't get the privilege, and some people don't. But in Chicago now, the morality was different. In the city of Chicago now, Reverend Eagle Cornelius, man, gotta let you know now that racism and social segregationism and overt and covert racist behaviors was so dreadful in those poverty-stricken societies where you will see a lost dog, but you would think it's a dog. It might be a human. And Reverend Eagle Cornelius, man, saying a lot of these situations, and he had the distinct privilege to see one of the demons that killed two people in front of him and his mother as they was going to the laundromat to wash clothes. They were so poor they couldn't afford a washing machine. But that's a whole nother story. When Reverend Eagle slept in the park with his mother too. So anyway, in life now, God will throw tribulation at you, and sometimes your parents don't be ready for the things that happen to them, and for the things that they think that finna happen for them. So Reverend Eagle saying he was raised around a lot of Europeans, and he always felt that he was not only a part of the family, but sometimes they just didn't think like him. So you got a guy that like to always just have a little snack that's delicious and downright nutritious and vicious, just that. So we go to the European and people house, just that, and they got the best food. They got the best selection of food. They ain't on food stamps. They ain't on Medicare. They the ones actually creating these programs. And the thing is, you said Reverend Eagle couldn't get himself. You said he got touched by a few. I said, and we fell in love. So when Reverend Eagle say that, he talking about Randy Reed New Beginners Group Home, where Reverend Eagle was reminded every day that the more times you get your heart broken, the more it makes you. So speeding all the way up. God Ministry just a school today. It's 2022 years, and the show must go on. So we operate by sight, and then we get lost sometimes, and we operate by flesh sometimes. We get lost. So it seems like historically that the Europeans got this whole world on lock, but the Lord got the whole world in His hands, though. The Lord got the whole world in His hands, but He also mandates that He needs humans and populations that sit under the sky that can run the government, that can run the state, the federal, the native, the tribal, the governments, so we never get lost in lexicons in life when we can't see our cross. And sometimes our cross come up missing because we get around family members, friends, loved ones that take us out the path. So basically, what Reverend Cornelius is saying is, you've got to know when it's time to be holy, and you got to know when it's time to play. So Reverend Cornelius, man, he had to observe like he been observing Ron Johnson, and some kicked in on him. So they say Ron Johnson did benefited off of a business. He got one of the biggest tax breaks in history. Who is Ron Johnson? So let's take a microscopic review of Ron Johnson. Who is Ron Johnson? It can't be that this man. Who is Ron Johnson? So they say Ron Johnson got one of the biggest tax breaks in U.S. history for his last business transaction with all the business people that in fact are business people. And Reverend Eagle saying, hold on, let's take a look at this. And this is something Reverend Eagle historically had to do. He had to be around the serial rapists, the serial murderers, the serial killers, all the most dangerous and violent men in so many different jurisdictional landscapes. But when he came in, his spirit was so strong that he was able to conquer the demonic activity, the demonic spirits that was floating there. And you gotta understand how Reverend Eagle Cornelius, man, is insane mind and everything, but he notices that in his house now the Holy Spirit get his communication through extraordinary ways. Sometimes papers and stuff just be falling. The house is old, so and there's a lot of people that died and they passed away in the flesh, but